AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
I'm Gary Birtles, one of the old gits from a long time ago. You've got to tune into Tricky Talks, I believe, so just do it. All the best.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do. And still Robertson, getting his shot in, and a goal! Robertson!
Hello and welcome along to the Tricky Talks podcast. And as we approach Halloween, Forest delivered their own horror show of a performance in a less than impressive display at Bournemouth. We'll go through that. Look forward to the visit of Man Utd at the weekend and a whole lot more. And the whole gang is here with me this week. Mollo, how are you doing, sir?
All good, thank you.
Fresh from a trip back from the seaside?
Oh yeah, love the sea air anywhere but Bournemouth.
Kate, you're also returning from your trip to Bournemouth. We'll talk about your experience in a moment because I know you went with one of the Gary Baldy girls, Jo. We'll talk about that shortly. And last but not least, Chelsea, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. I don't sound like Sean Dyche anymore, so I'm back.
That was a really good impression of Sean Dyche, I have to say. It's a shame we'll never get to hear it on the pod, really. But yeah, let's get straight into it then. Let's talk about Bournemouth. And before we go into the game itself, just Kate, I know you just mentioned you did your very first away day on your own without your family. And how was it?
Do you know what? My car broke down on Saturday. I was driving to, this is totally unfootball related, but I was driving to my local shop and it just died. Okay. Now, I was also going to Manchester to watch the Lionesses that day, and I was supposed to be driving to Castle Donington to get my lift to Bournemouth, and I kind of just sat in the middle of the road thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But it was okay. I managed to limp the car home. It's in the garage just now. We went to Manchester on the train and I Ubered to my lift, and do you know what? I had a really, really lovely day. I'd seen both the girls before we were on the same flight to Seville, so we sort of already knew each other. And then on the way home, another couple of people joined us, a long-standing season ticket holder called Pete and his daughter Katie, who, shout out to Katie, actually. She is doing sports journalism at college. She started doing blogs on the games, one of which she sent to me, and she was absolutely fascinated to hear all about us tricky talking. And it was an absolute pleasure to meet a young female fan. So yeah, all in all, great trip, not a great game. And my car needs to be ready because I got to drive to Stansted next week to get a flight out to Austria. So good.
I was going to say, the journey down was probably the highlight of the day, wasn't it, considering what I'd heard gone on the football pitch. Now, obviously, you guys know I didn't see any of the game due to family circumstances. So talk me through it. Was it as bad as what I've been reading? We'll start with you, Mollo. You were there. Give us your impressions of that performance.
Just one of those days where we couldn't pass wind. Everything we did on the ball didn't work. An absolute horrendous day at the office. First half, I'm talking particularly. Our three unbelievably high quality players in midfield, it just didn't happen for them. The first goal you've seen, they tackled each other and it put them clean through effectively. That was the problem on the ball. Second half, we made a bit of a fight of it, not in terms of the result, but they stepped up and put Bournemouth on the back foot occasion with a fantastic, well, not fantastic, that's a bit unfair, in comparison to what had happened before, a really good display from Taiwo. The one thing we couldn't knock, though, was the shape of the team looked all right when we didn't have possession, but when we had possession, you've got to give Bournemouth some credit, and I'm going to revise something I said last night and sort of bring it up again. Bournemouth have a fantastic football team. They are a tin pot club with a fantastic team on the pitch. Seriously, you can't knock it. Off the ball, out of possession, they suffocated us. They were on us like you wouldn't believe. That combined with us not getting it right, not being able to pass, losing possession, just wasn't good. 2-0, didn't flatter them at all at half time. It could have been a lot more. Weirdly, they didn't create that many chances because both our fullbacks were absolutely on it defensively, to be fair, which probably saved us a hammering. Unfortunately, our goalkeeper wasn't. Our centre-backs backed off for one of the goals, as you saw. Just one of those days. It's like a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the football ruined a good day out.
Yeah, let's talk about the goal then, because we all saw it was not even a corner in the first place, and it should have been a goal kick. So that was the first thing. But there's nothing you can do at that stage. It is what it is. You just have to get on with it. But it looked like, from what I could see, how much of the goal is blamed for the positioning of and how Matt Sells dealt with the cross. Like I said, I've only seen it once. I haven't really analysed it myself. Kate, Chelsea, you were there. What was the reaction in the crowd, Kate, initially? And then, Chelsea, I want your viewpoint from the commentators' perspective in terms of what they were saying. But let's start with you, Kate. Were fans a bit sort of irate and thought Sells was at fault for that?
Yeah, they were. It was embarrassing, is how it felt when that went in. You know, we all were, Bournemouth fans who, there's obviously not that many of them in that stadium, and they're not normally that quiet, but they were having a great time taunting us a little bit. And it might have actually looked better on TV from where I was standing. They scored directly from a corner. Like, we didn't see any kind of shoving on Sells, which I know has been discussed since, and still, to be fair, I don't really think is any kind of an excuse. Personally, not a goalkeeper, but yeah, just embarrassment, disappointment. Most of us did expect to lose. We never win there, but not like that. Oof, that was bad.
Yeah. Chelsea, what were the commentators saying on TV? Because were they giving the plaudits to the guy who took the corner for curling it in from there, or were they more critical of Sells and the way he dealt with that cross?
Oh yeah, they were definitely applauding Bournemouth more than anything, but it was one of those things where at first it was very much about Sells not being in position, and then obviously when it then got reviewed and looked back, there was a shove. So whether it just knocked his balance off and the fact that he couldn't get himself in the position, but again, it was a very, very soft foul. So, they said VAR, it was checked and cleared, and there's nothing more that you can do about it. I think he could have positioned himself in a better way. Yes, he was shoved, but ideally it was just one of them instances where, it was a great goal. And what more can you say about it? Whether there was a foul, whether it was not, it still went in. So, yeah, it was very difficult. It was a bit 50-50, really, but definitely, what a fantastic goal, and that's what the commentators were talking about more than anything, rather than Sells.
You talked about positioning there, which leads nicely onto the second goal, Mullo. You said that the two centre-halves backed off. I mean, it seemed as though he'd got acres and acres of time to just do what he wanted with the ball. Why was that, do you think? What's wrong with because obviously they're a pretty good partnership, as we've seen in the past. I don't understand why perhaps they would have allowed somebody with that much talent heading towards the goal. Why would they allow that time to shoot?
I think it's that thing, isn't it, about quite often an error is compounded by another error. So there was a double tackle in midfield on each other, which meant they had no screen in front of them whatsoever. So it was down to the defenders to try and stop it. I think they did the right thing to an extent in inviting him to shoot from so far out, because you don't expect Sells to get beat from that far out with what ultimately wasn't an absolute banger, was it? And it did curl a little bit, it swerved a little bit, so it looked like it might not go in. I think it was that split second of hesitation, wasn't it? Because the man who's supposed to dive in there and make the tackle is normally Murillo, with Milenkovic covering behind, and there was that split second of indecisiveness about who was going to do it. Neither of them did it, and then as Murillo moved, he took his shot, and then unfortunately, having saved much more difficult shots before that, he allowed it to sneak in right in the corner. I'm not going to say, but sounds like I've got this last night, giving Sells a lot of hard time. I think it's a measure of how highly we rate Sells in those situations that as soon as he hit it, I never for a second thought it would go in. The one in the first half that curled around a defender, I thought, oh no, and then he's put it around the post. And I think it's a measure of how highly we rate Sells in those positions. Of course, he let the corner in. We know he's terrible on crosses. Not that terrible normally, but we know it's not his thing. That shot, I really think that when he struck it, I think the defenders were probably, you know, that old cliche, we'll let him shoot from there. It felt a bit like that as well. And then we know what happened next. So 2 or 3 little mistakes and minor hesitation, goalkeeper perhaps not set or not expecting it to go in that corner. I don't know. All things compounded together. But the real thing that caused it was Louise and Anderson tackling each other, because if one of them took control of it, or neither of them did, it would have been different. But instead, they both tried to take control of it. So it's almost like that trying too hard thing. So it's hard to be critical. But, you know, we weren't at a 50,000 stadium where you can't hear each other. You could hear the drum from those annoying Bournemouth fans louder than anything else in the whole ground. You could hear players. You could hear that when people kick, you know, the thump of the ball in front of you and everything. You could hear players almost not exactly what they were saying. You could hear them communicating. So, really basic communication error, I'd say, more than anything. And that finished the game for us, albeit that we hadn't even got started by that point anyway. And as I say, but work rate, one thing I keep banging on about, the work rate was phenomenal. If anything, we ran too much, trying to overwork it. That sounds daft, but the ground covered by our midfield was incredible. Just didn't do much when they got there.
Did the work rate lead to an improved second half display, do you think, or do you put that down to the triple substitution he made at half time? I think, was it Hutchinson, Yates and Awoniyi came on? Did they make a difference in the second half? Because obviously it was goalless in the second half.
It was a slight tactical switch as well, wasn't it? Yates became a member of the back four when needed, so it closed a lot of gaps off, didn't it? If Yates had been playing first half in that position and hadn't got tackled by his teammate, he would have been exactly where he was running through, wouldn't he? And although Yates, he didn't do a great deal on the ball massively, it shored things up like he always does without looking spectacular. And as always, players around him play better when he's on the pitch.
How did Hutchinson look, Chelsea, when he came on? Did he obviously his game time over the last few weeks has been relatively non-existent. How did he look this last week?
Hutchinson's biggest critic after watching him so much last season with Town. And I was that person where I wasn't happy with the fact that, 1, he was coming to Forest, and 2, the fact of how much we paid for him. I can wholeheartedly hold my hands up and say that I was wrong, because I think he was absolutely brilliant. I think he done so well down that line. I think, what was it? Did he come on? Was that for the Sunderland game? I think second half of the Sunderland game, and the impact that he made there, I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and I was happy that he was coming on. So yeah, I think that was all being well for him.
And from the reports I read, Kate, Awoniyi did pretty well as well in terms of holding the ball up in the second half. But ultimately, I believe it didn't lead to too many opportunities, goal-scoring opportunities. Is that a fair reflection on Awoniyi and the contribution he made?
I'd say so. And I did say this, myself and Mollo and Chelsea's dad were on tour last night talking about this, and I did say this on there. When Taiwo came on, I said to the person that I was sat with that it was really interesting for me, because when he was starting against Chelsea, everybody saw it as a negative, as Ange sort of saying, I don't care, I'm just going to put this guy on. And as much as we cheered for him, everybody was a bit like, Taiwo, really? But when I saw him come on in the second half, that said something to me. That said that he's clearly doing well in training, because that's 2 managers that have backed him above Callum Owendo to come on and make an impact. And he did make an impact. For me, the main thing that he brought was physicality. He looked strong. He was going at people. He was a presence. You're right, it didn't lead to a goal, although I did feel that we were straying a little bit more into the box and taking people on a little bit more once he came on. So I think that could be the start of us seeing Taiwo more than perhaps we thought we would. And from the display in the second half on Sunday, I think that's okay. I think that's going to be a pleasant surprise.
Okay, anything else any of you want to bring up with regards to the Bournemouth game? Because like I said earlier, there's not too much to cover off. Go on, Kate.
So I just want to give a quick word for Savona. He was against Semenyo, and I think he did a decent job. I think he kept him fairly quiet. He was very much someone that, we were all looking at and all fearing. And I think he did a decent job. I think Ndoye helped him out a little bit with that. But in general, I thought, yeah, Savona handled that job pretty well.
Can you read between the lines, guys, and say, okay, you take away the mistakes that were made for the 2 goals, and they're just kind of schoolboy error type mistakes. Take those away, and it would have been a 0-0 against a high-flying team at the top of the league. Can you read between the lines and pick apart the bones to look at it in a different way, or do you really just have to look at the overall performance, Mollo, and say, actually, it wasn't very good, regardless of whether they made mistakes or not?
Yeah, it's weird because, and like Kate alluded to it there, in that the big difference with Tyro won, and it wasn't anything that Jesus did wrong, it was a fact. You know what it's like when you're playing a team that are either much better than you, or in this case, on the day, much better than us, and the ball is just like constant attack. It feels like it's attack versus defence. It was a bit like that because we kept giving it away and losing it, mostly midfield. When Tyro came on, it gave us that out ball. He held the ball up and gave us a platform to at least not be as crap as we were in the first half. But Bournemouth were far superior to us on the day. And, I think I said it last night, we spent last season taking advantage of teams that had tough Thursday night games and picking up points by going at them with high energy, putting them on the back foot, hitting them on the break sometimes, winning in the last 10 minutes sometimes. So we've just got to take it on the chin and accept. If Sean Dyche had made a load of changes, he would have got crucified for changing a winning team. Next time, after we've played Graz or whoever, because Leeds is a massive game, he's now got the okay almost, hasn't he? That, well, I can't leave it the same because look what happened last time. So he can jiggle it around and bring in fresh legs where he thinks they're needed. And he'll know. He's not an idiot. And he wasn't very impressed with the way we played. But it would have been an absolute steal if we'd have got a 0-0 to answer the question succinctly. But they didn't create many real chances randomly. So who knows?
Yeah. Go on, Charles.
Yeah, I just want to say really, like, Bournemouth, they're decent. We know that. Technically they are. They were much quicker on the ball than us. And this is not a criticism to Forest, but they were first to pick up the second ball. And we have to remember, for some bizarre reason, Bournemouth seem to be our kryptonite. And that is just the way that it is. I think if you look at both the teams, I think our team seems much better on paper, I think. Yeah. But when you look at it, I just feel like as a team, the confidence has been knocked a lot. And I think you could really see that in the game. I think it was better than what it was, but you can tell that, yeah, they're just not very confident at the minute. And I think once they start to understand how amazing they are and get together as a squad, hopefully by Saturday, that'll work. And I just think Dyche is the man to do that. He has to just rebuild their confidence and just remind them how they can play and who they are. And hopefully that will be done on Saturday.
Credit to the Bournemouth manager, of course, for getting them where they are. I don't think they could have done it without him, could they? Right, just final wrap-up on Bournemouth and Mollo's moment this week, Mollo, before we do men of the match or man of the match. I guess it's going to be hard for you this week.
I'm going to go for, I think it was Savona's tackle on, I can't remember who it was now. It probably was Semenyo. On the far side, and Savona, he went in with a proper old-school Stuart Pearce, all guns blazing. He took the ball cleanly as anything. The man went flying, and the ball basically went into the crowd. It just got ahead of the semi-brawl that happened, and Douglas Luiz's headlock that might have nicked it another day. But Savona gets it for his tackle. It was fantastic.
Right, very quickly then, man of the match. Kate, start with you.
Tricky one, because I would say that my Mr. Consistent Nico, he did have a decent game, but I'm going to go for Taiwo because he was the person who, when I left the ground, I was thinking about the most and thinking that was good to see. So I'm going with Taiwo.
Cool. Chelsea, yours, please.
I think Molo's been looking at my notes, actually, because my man in the match has got to be Savano. I think he was brilliant. That tackle, I know exactly what one that Molo was on about, and that was as clean as you like. It was absolutely brilliant, like you said, completely old school, and I think he played brilliantly. And I think as well for him, every time we see him play, he gets better. And I really like that about him. So I'm really excited to see as he progresses. So yeah, that is that for me.
Yeah, we'll see. And lastly, Molo, your man of the match, please.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Taiwo, as I did last night, because I think he kind of changed the game, not exactly in our favour, but as I said earlier, holding the ball up, giving us something, a platform to work off. They strangled us, and it meant a lot more ball straight into the front man, and he competed for everything and won way more than his fair share. And when he did get it, it really did stick. So I'm going Taiwo, but I couldn't argue with, like you say, Nico and Savano.
Right, cool. Let's do the quiz, shall we, Kate? What have you got lined up for us this week, please?
Yeah, that's good timing, actually. So, the 19th of August, 2014, is the last time that Nottingham Forest beat Bournemouth away.
Oh,
Can
dear.
you tell me? I know. Can you tell me who scored the 2 goals
Yeah,
for Forest in our 2-1 victory away to Bournemouth?
it was a night game.
On the 19th of August, 2014.
Yeah, it was a night game. I do remember that, and I do remember the score. You've probably got it already, haven't you, Mono?
Yeah, I had 4 tickets for that game because the ticket office, they were supposed to deliver the tickets to the game because I was living on the south coast then. Went to pick up the tickets, no record of it, nobody there from the club. And back then, obviously, because before we got all the modern fans we have now, I could just go back to the office and bought 2 more tickets on the night of the game. Because it was August, I said to my wife, do you fancy a couple of days in Bournemouth down the coast? It was only an hour's drive. I've got found a nice hotel, so, brilliant, yeah, that's not like you. So,
Nice night out.
If I go to the game. Yeah, well, actually, I took one of the kids. But yeah, and we were in the hotel next to the Forest Hotel, so we saw Stuart Pearce and the lads all walking down the beach in the morning. They went for a morning stroll on the prom, much like this week. But yeah, I do remember that one.
Yeah.
And we were massively outplayed.
Yeah. Any idea, Chelsea, or bit before your time?
It's not a bit before my time. My memory's just shocking. I'm trying to think. So that was who scored the 2 goals.
You'll be amazed at one of them.
Was one...
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
We'll reveal it. Kate will reveal at the end. Did you want to phone a friend?
Was one a Sambalonga?
No, don't give her a clue. Yeah. Right, very quickly, let's move on to your FPL update, Chelsea, shall we?
Oh, yes. Right, FPL this week. What a stinker of a week we've all had, I'm just going to say. Not great at all. Mine being the absolute worst. So I am now down to 18th. And whoever stupid person on the pod last time said to play their bench boost in game week 9 because that was the best, don't ever listen to them.
I think that was yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it was me.
You listen to yourself. Don't take your own advice.
Yeah,
Chelsea.
honestly, people who listen to this podcast, please do not take my advice because apparently I'm no good. And all them forums that I listen to as well who said it, I'm not listening to you anymore because I played my bench boost and guess how many points I got from just my bench?
4.
A whopping 4. Yes, a whopping 4 points. So I am so glad I wasted that on game week 9. So that I'm now down to 18th, even with my bench boost. How bad is that? You play your bench boost and you drop. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm not bitter at all. And I still only scored 40 points this week.
It's all right. The national average is 36 or 37.
Was it? Okay, well, I say it's made me feel better. It really hasn't. But thank you, Molo. I appreciate it. So, Simon, you've gone down to 9th with 41 points. And Simon, the elephant in the room, Van der Ven. Where was he? Where was he?
Sitting second on my bench behind Reinders.
See, that's when you should have played your bench boost, because then, what was it, 23 points?
23 points he got, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Simon, sorry, got you muddled then. And then, Mollo, you're 7th with 55 points. And Kate...
Take that.
Yeah. I was going to say 7th is still good. And then, Kate, you have dropped to 22nd with 45. So, again, we're all quite close, quite similar. But I do just want to do, because I didn't do this last week, our leaderboard. So, at the bottom, Josh Mines. Is that your little nephew, Kate? Bless his heart, with the pen.
Bottom, just so we keep saying his name on the podcast. He was really happy with it, because they came to Manchester with us, and he was like, "You say my name every week." I was like, "Yes, we do, Josh."
Bless his heart. Well, tell him I will still keep an eye on him, even if he isn't at the bottom. I'll still mention him. So he is there with he got 31 points this week. And then all the way at the top is Gareth Parry, and he got 49 points this week with a grand total of 574 points. That is crazy. I don't know how he's done that, but yes. So that is the FPL update for this week.
Good stuff. Thanks for that, Chelsea. I am getting rid of João Pedro this week. I have had enough.
I don't blame you.
But he's been sat in my team with a favourable run of games, and he's still not getting me any points. So he's for the chop this week, I'm afraid. Sorry, João Pedro. Which means ultimately he's going to be scoring a hat-trick this weekend at Spurs. You just know it, don't you?
Semenyo let me down, and I'm very glad about that.
Yeah, he was my vice-captain this week, actually, for obvious reasons. But thankfully Haaland played and...
Yeah, he only scored me 4.
Right. Let's move on then. So, question for you guys. We've obviously, the last 2 games, we've seen them play really well against Porto. At one end of the spectrum, we've seen them play badly against Bournemouth. At the other end of the spectrum. So I want to ask you guys, who are the real Forest? Where do they sit right now? Because we've had contrasting games, as I say, over the last 2. And it's really difficult to work out what kind of team they really are. Start with you, Mollo. Where do you think they are on that scale? So which Forest are going to show up week in, week out? Which Forest team are we going to see play Man United? Because it's a bit of a roller coaster at the moment, isn't it? I just want that level of consistency week in, week out. They don't seem to be able to deliver that at the minute.
Well, I'm going to say Man U are probably slightly more like a Porto type team than they are Bournemouth, I hope. And I cannot see, if he's fit, Louise and Anderson and Morgan having quite such a bad game ever again at the same time. It was what they call in sports psychology catastrophe theory in action, where every single key player in that midfield just had one of those days. So I'm going to say at the moment we sit somewhere in the middle of that, which is a bit of a sitting on fence element. And what we can't afford to do at the moment in the foreseeable future is concede first, because that team are playing with very little confidence right now. And the crowd will lift them at home, hopefully, playing in a proper ground, not a non-league Ilkeston Town style shack. So I'm hoping we'll see slightly more of the Porto, 7 days to work with the new manager. The shape was actually quite good. It was just the execution when we had the ball was horrendous. Here's hoping it's that one.
They're not a bad team, are they, Kate? On paper, they've got some really good quality players. And you think about the first 11 that they've put out over the last couple of games, they look like it could be the best team Forest could put out there. But they're not. They didn't deliver at Bournemouth. They did deliver against Porto. Chalk and cheese, really, isn't it? Is it too much to ask for a little bit of consistency?
See, every time you say that phrase about a good team on paper, the big man comes into my head with, unfortunately, the game is played on the grass, which is too true, isn't it? It's funny how his quotes come back and just continue to be bang up to date with the joy that is being a Forest fan. We have got a great team. We have, and as you know, I think Mollo said, you said, you look at other teams and their lineups, and a lot of the time, a lot of those players you would not pick or swap for ones that are in that are in ours, and a lot of the Manchester United are one that have been linked with wanting to take Anderson, aren't they? And normally I am super, super positive. As we know, something is niggling me a little bit about Saturday. And I think actually, now you've put that question into words, Simon, that might be it. Who are we? Who are you? Because we were bouncing after Porto, and we were back to that. Look at how good they are. Look at how good they are when they're organised right, when they've got some confidence. What a great job Dyche has done in a few days. And then, it just wasn't right on Sunday. It wasn't. I think the bonus is that they do have this week on the training ground. I joked about it yesterday. Isn't it great that we're not in the cup and we haven't got a midweek game? And it actually is. As much as we were all livid at going out to Swansea, actually in this moment, it is a good thing because we've got a lot more that we need to be focusing on. I do hope that he can have a go at that confidence, like Chelsea said, and bring them up ready for Manchester United. And if he does, and we play like we did at Porto, then we are definitely in with a shout. It is which team turns up. Molo's probably right. It will probably be somewhere in between the two, but I think that's okay. I think somewhere in between the two is enough for now. Yeah, he's got some work to do, has Dyche, but listening to his post-match interview, I think he's ready for that. And I do think that whether it happens at Manchester United or at home to Manchester United on Saturday, better times are coming. They will remember who they are. We will see.
Yeah, those 7 days are going to be crucial, aren't they, between the Bournemouth and Man United games, aren't they, Chelsea?
Yeah.
It's a chance for him to kind of stamp his authority on the playing style a little bit more. His first full week he's going to have had, isn't it, with regards to working with the squad, because ultimately up to now he's not even been in post. Well, it's about a week now, isn't he? He's already had 2 games. How valuable will this week be to get his philosophies across and adapt the team to his style?
I'll be hugely valuable. I mean, I feel like with Dyche, he's having to undo and strip back all of the bad that has been done with Ange, set the foundations in to then rebuild again. That's how I feel it's got to happen. So having that extra week on the training ground is absolutely crucial. And I really think that we need that. I mean, I'm going to say it, Kate, you're making me worry because I know that I am the negativity and the reality of going, no, and I moan and stuff. You're always the positive one, Kate. And the fact that you're not being as positive is making me worry. But again, it's a really hard one to predict for the Man United game. And exactly what you said, Simon, I don't know why I was finding it difficult to predict, but it is, who are we? Who is our team? And it's all of these things where you think of whether we're having a bad day, whether we're having a good day. But I am just going to cast us all back. I believe that was the 17th of August, this year, our Brentford game, where we won 3-1. Now, we now know that Forest can play like that. And that was the best that I had seen Forest play. And it was phenomenal. And I know that we all had the podcast after and we were all relishing in it. I even said in there, I remember I looked back on it and I said, oh no, we are not going down. And how many months, a couple of months have passed and look what we're now all talking about. And it's crazy how it can go from one extreme to the complete either end of the pole. And it is worrying. We don't know what we're getting at the moment with every game that we play, when we had been quite consistent, I would say, last season. So what it's going to be, I've got no idea. I would like you said, Kate, somewhere in between would be absolutely great. But we're just going to have to see on Saturday. But I do believe that having that extra week in the training ground is going to help us no end. And I really just want to see, regardless of whether we win or not, a great performance and confidence, and that's when I feel like we know we can go from there.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my prediction on the Danscape Prediction League, right? Because at the moment I've put us down for a win, and seeing as every prediction I have made practically on that league so far I've got wrong, if I switch that and say that we're going to lose, maybe that means we're going to win. Yes?
Yes, Kate.
Absolutely. Nailed it.
I think, do we all need to do that then?
just my luck. Just don't get involved. I might rub off on you.
Yeah. Right, on to Man United then. So they currently sit sixth in the league on 16 points. They've won 5, drawn 1, lost 3 of their 9 games, scored 15, conceded 14, and of their last 6 games, they've won 3 on a bounce. Leading into our fixture, prior to that, they'd lost 2 of 3. So they are on a bit of a roll at the minute, and that I don't know whether you've seen that Man United fan who has said he wasn't going to cut his hair until they'd won 5 games in a row. He's now got this massive afro-like hairstyle. He must be cacking himself a little bit to think that he's so close to cutting his hair again because he's stuck to his word. They do tend to play well, Man United, at Forest, don't they? I know Forest won a fixture recently, but generally speaking, United do tend to play reasonably well. Can you see where's the path to victory coming from this week, Mollo, in terms of how Forest are going to approach the game and win the game?
I think it's absolutely crystal clear. I've looked at the Man United side over the last couple of weeks. I was just putting it Fernandes and Casemiro versus Luiz and Anderson is the likely lineup. If I was them, I'd be playing Ugarte because they have not got legs in midfield. We should be doing to them on Saturday in those first 10 or 15 minutes what we did to Porto and what Bournemouth did to us and overrunning them. Because if they start playing and getting a ball into their front 3, 2 of whom, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Our 2 fullbacks, if we're being brutally honest, our 2 fullbacks probably stopped us getting another hiding on Sunday. We're going to need that again against Cunha and Bueno, who are both absolute quality players. I'm not going to slate Sesko because he's proven himself as a class player for a young lad, and he's just settling in, and he's already got a few goals. It's that midfield. We've got to dominate the midfield battle. Their back 3's a bit weird, isn't it? And a Man U fan, classic Man U fan, said to me the other day, De Ligt is currently the best centre-back in the Premier League. And whilst I laughed at him, he is a good player in a good vein of form. But their defence is poor, but then so is our attack. We need our back 4 absolutely on it against that front 3. And then maybe our midfield, they can dominate, because Fernandes, as much as he's a horrible rat, is a brilliant player. If we let him play, he'll hurt us. Casemiro has been a brilliant player and still does things very, very well, certain things, but he shouldn't be able to outwork our guys, and we should be able to make things very difficult for him. They've got 2 half-decent wide wing-backs. We don't know much about their keeper either, do we? Because, again, classic Man U fans, he played 2 games and he's the world's best keeper. Didn't look quite so good against Brighton, did he? That Brighton game worries me a little bit because Brighton are a good side and they buried Brighton until those last 10 minutes or so. But for me, it's a bit of a cliche because it does happen a lot. Midfields where if we're going to win it, we've got to dominate the midfield because that'll give the rest of our players a chance to try and do something. And our fullbacks, as Williams has been all season, need to be absolutely on it again. Then we might get a point.
One of the players Mollo mentioned there, Chelsea, was Mbeumo, and he's absolutely on fire at the minute, and he's certainly even somebody I'm considering bringing him in for my FPL team this week because he's cheaper than Fernandes and you save a significant amount of money for your budget whilst bringing in a player who's on fire. Are you bringing him in, Chelsea, this week?
Well, I did already have him in and he let me down multiple times, so I binned him off because I was annoyed. I was like, no, I've had enough. See ya. And then, of course, like it always happens, then he starts playing well. Brilliant. Great. So I'm still a bit bitter about him at the moment, but maybe he will just slowly creep his way back in if he's good enough.
Well, he's in my team, so hopefully that'll be enough for him to be rubbish.
Yeah, I transferred him in this week as well.
He's the reason he's one of the main reasons I've been creeping up the league, I think, since I've had him in.
Yeah, I'm getting FOMO because I haven't got him in my team yet. Fernandes has let me down with several missed penalties, and I'm starting to wonder whether it's time to cut my losses. And Mbeumo is the obvious candidate to replace him because even if it stops you guys gaining on me, then that's a move I should make. But Kate, their attack looks quite decent on paper. It is a decent attack with Cunha and Sesko in the mix as well. Do they scare you when you're matching them up against our defence?
Yes. Next question.
Yeah, move on.
They're scoring goals. They're scoring goals and we're not. That scares me. They're in form and we're not. That scares me. They're full of confidence and we're not. That scares me. I don't know what to say. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because I've heard it said a couple of times that we need at least 4 points from Man U and Leeds, and I just think that's massively ambitious. And I don't think it's accurate either, actually. It doesn't matter where the points come from. You can't isolate games and say it has to be this, it has to be that. But it does, the whole thing does scare me. I like what Mollo said about the crowd lifting the confidence, and I think that will happen. I think most Forest fans are very accepting of Sunday's result, not looking to blame Dyche, with the exception of some who we try not to name on this podcast, who aren't digging out the players too much and just accepting that it's a bogey team and it was a bad day. So I do think we are in that position again where we need to be singing and we need to be really, really getting behind them. God, I hope we can do it.
Right, shall we do some score predictions? Just before we do that, actually, you may recall I said Porto absolutely scared the living daylights out of me, considering that they'd been sweeping everybody before them in their domestic season and a couple of games in the Europa League before they came to Forest, and look what happened. So there must surely on that basis be a little bit of optimism that Forest can cope with playing against Man United too, given their performance against Bournemouth. It's a question of, though, which Forest team are going to show up.
Yeah.
Okay, like score predictions then. Start with you, Mollo.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, all right. Or would you like a little bit of time to think about it?
No, I'm going to go with my head and not my heart and go 2-0 to that lot. And the crowd will be up and the crowd will get behind them. But unfortunately, as bad as they are at home, the Man United fans, they're the exact opposite. They're a very supportive, noisy bunch, aren't they, away from home? So, yeah, 2-0 Man U, and I hope I'm horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah, you say about the fans. Last time they played at the City Ground, I had that Amarin song going round in my head for ages afterwards because it was a bit of a catchy tune. I don't like it given the fact it's not ours, but it did stick in my head, and like one of those musical worm things that keep going round and round.
Let's hope it's Two Little Birds that is stuck in your head. As in, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
In the house, not in the bush.
Kate, your prediction, please. So you said on the podcast Prediction League you're going for a Forest win, but you're going to change it to a Forest defeat. So are you going with your revised podcast Prediction League outcome, or are you going to stick with your original?
2-1 Man U.
Okay.
You think you're going to score? Yes.
Yeah, we're going to get a penalty.
Yeah. A corner.
Do you know what? I'm finding this prediction hard, really hard. And probably just because I've always said to everybody, you only like Man United if you support Man United. Everyone else doesn't like them. I'm going to go 2-1 United. I'm going the same as Kate.
Okay.
I'd like us to have a good performance. I'd like to see us score, not from a penalty. But
I don't care how we score.
A goal is a goal. Thanks for that, Chelsea. I'm going for 0-1 as well. I'm like you guys. Hopefully we'll be proved wrong, but yeah, 0-1 from me. Any final thoughts on Man United before we move on?
No,
Aside from Chelsea.
Yeah, it's just they are fragile at the back, and I just hope that we take that opportunity that they are fragile at the back.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then we know what's going to happen.
Right. Okay. Approaching for the end of the show. A couple of bits from me before Kate reveals the quiz answer. Ryan Yates celebrated 250 appearances for Nottingham Forest. He is Mr. Nottingham Forest, isn't he? It was great to see him recognised at the City Ground, and Kate has his shirt on her wall behind for those seeing clips on social media. But yeah, he's certainly Forest through and through, isn't he, Mollo? The player you want out on the field representing the Garibaldi.
100%. And anybody who knows anything about football, you can criticise his touch sometimes, you can pick up on his faults if you really want to be like that, But every team needs someone that makes the players around them play better, and he is that guy. And there's a long enough set of results now to look at Forest results with him in the team versus not in the team. That's not me saying he's better than Louise or Anderson. That's not my point. But we are a better organisation with him, certainly in the squad. And he proved it in a less flashy way on Sunday. He came on, did the basics well. Took him 10 or 15 minutes to get up to the pace of the game because the pace of the Bournemouth way they were playing was massive. He's the guy you'd want him. What's that old phrase? He's the guy you'd want next to you in the trenches.
And it's John McGovern's birthday today as we record, so happy birthday to the double European Cup winning captain. Got a funny story about John McGovern, as it happens. So he's English, but he played for Scotland, is that right? Or did he play for Scotland?
No.
Or
he's Scottish, but he lived in
sounds
Hartlepool, and he sounds a little bit Scottish. But Alex McLeod, what his name was, didn't even know he was Scottish.
Okay, because years and years ago, I went on a tour of the old Wembley Stadium before it got knocked down, and we had Emmeline Hughes, who was the tour guide, a great character, as you know, and I got in a row with him in the Wembley Stadium dressing room because he insisted he was the only, and it was years ago, it was either he said he was the only Englishman or the only British person to lift the European Cup twice. And I said, no, you're not. John McGovern also did it. And I got in a bit of a row with Emmeline Hughes in the Wembley Stadium dressing room, fighting John McGovern's corner. And it was so long ago, I don't remember whether Emmeline Hughes said he was the only Englishman or whether he was referring to the country as a whole. I can't remember, but I do remember arguing with Emmeline Hughes at Wembley Stadium, which was great because I was convinced I won. Right, Kate, quiz time.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure I've got the answer. I think Chelsea got one of the goal scorers, Britta Sombolonga.
She did indeed.
Yes! Come on.
And I know who the
second.
Go on then, Mullo, reveal your guess. I'm sure it's right, because I know who it is.
The one-legged Matty Fryatt.
Yeah.
I remember it well, and the celebration. I didn't really see him because it was a bit of a scramble, but I do remember the pylon at the front of the stand celebrating, and it was lovely. And we got battered that game. Carl Darlow was absolutely amazing.
Was that Matty Fryatt's last goal for Forest?
Try only goal.
Only goal. Mm.
I believe it's his only goal.
Story about Carl Darlow. My friend Jess, who comes and does beauty things to me, Carl Darlow's her brother-in-law.
Okay, interesting. That sounds like a tumbleweed moment there, really, doesn't it?
Oh, well,
No, I love that.
Yeah. So we always swing home.
We're going to finish off with a little bit of fun. And you guys haven't prepared for this, but I have. So Halloween is approaching at the end of the week, and I did a bit of research to try and guess or try and figure out some Forest players, past and present, with a little bit of a Halloween twist to their name. So, for example, you have Peter. See if you can guess. Well, you'll know who the players are. Peter Goulton. Some of them he's a little bit. Some of the very tenuous. Some of them are quite clever. So Peter Shilton, his Halloween name is Peter Goulton. John McGoblin, Viv and the Vampire. So, like I say, some of these are tenuous. Gary Goolies. Oh no, Goultles, which should be Gary Birtles. Martin O'Witch for Martin O'Neill.
O'Witch?
Yeah, I said these were tenuous. Trevor Frankensteve for Trevor Francis.
That one's better.
Roy Zombie Ean for Roy Keane. Stuart Scare for Stuart Pearce. This one doesn't sound great. Des Goulker for Des Walker. Morgan Goulwhite. Taiwo a Werewolf Inyi.
Oh, God.
Callum Haunson-Adoy.
Oh, I like
That's
that
probably
one.
the best one.
Yeah.
Ola Fangner. Murillo the Mummy.
God.
John Robertoom. Stuart Pearce Screaming.
Oh, wow.
Stuart Fierce. Des Stalker. Nigel Gould. Ian Scary Moore. I like that one. That was my favourite. Viv Vanderghost. You have Morgan Gibb Ghostwhite. Chris Witchwood. Callum Hudson-Abu. I think that's pretty dreadful.
Oh dear.
Where did these come from?
Willy Booley, I'll tell you in a minute.
Willy Booley.
This just proves AI can never.
Ola Aina the Alien. What? And Ryan Yikes.
Oh, that's good.
That's okay.
And my absolute favourite of all of them, and I'll finish off with, this is what ChatGPT came up with for Martin O'Neill and his Halloween...
Martin O'Squeal.
No, not quite. Martin O'Neill's Halloween-based name, as provided by ChatGPT, was Martin O'Neill.
What? About Martin O'Squeal or...
Yeah.
I was trying to think through the promotion team, see if I could come up with one, but...
Oh, Willy Booley.
Willy Booley's not too bad, I suppose.
Yeah. So I said a lot of them were tenuous, but you're right, there's no substitute for human.
You could
and
do
that was all AI
fingernails for
generated.
Zinkernagel, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But seeing as it was Halloween, let's hope Forest don't deliver another horror show on Saturday against Man United. And before we do wrap up, I do want to give a quick shout out to Brucey in Texas in the US who listens to the show, absolutely loves the show. So hello to Brucey and thank you for listening to us and supporting us. Right, just go around the room very quickly. Any final thoughts? Kate, start with you.
Let's hope we're all wrong.
Yeah.
Don't listen to this. We all talk rubbish. We're going to absolutely smash it.
Yeah, and Chelsea, anything from you?
Yes, I just wanted to let people know as well that there may be something happening in the works which will come out before Christmas with Garibaldi Girls. So I'd just like to put the feelers out to just let everybody know, and I will keep everyone updated and I'll keep everyone posted.
Look forward to that. Mono, do you know what this thing is?
I'm the last one to know anything. I'll just get given the problems and things to sort out.
Yeah, go on, Mono. Anything you want to bring up?
No, nothing specific. But as I say, we all love being right sometimes, don't we? But Kate's nailed it. I really, really, really hope we're wrong this weekend.
Okay, right. That's it from us. We shall be back next Monday with a review of the Man United game, and we shall also look forward to our next European adventure against Sturm Graz next Thursday. So thanks again for listening. Bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock has tips to protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report phishing, and update the software on your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, let LifeLock alert you to suspicious uses of your personal information. LifeLock also fixes identity theft, guaranteed or your money back. Stay smart, safe, and protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.